So we're down here in Geelong this morning at beautiful, sunny Edencraft headquarters.
It's absolutely freezing this morning, Jose.
A lot of people don't realise just how many hours goes into building an Edencraft. Do you want to give a little insight on how many it takes?
Look, it's well over 1,000 hours for most of our boats that get produced here at the factory. So why don't we go inside, start in the front and give a tour.
Let's go.
Up to you, Jose.
Thanks. So one thing that makes our boats and our brand so special is a customer experience. So from the moment you walk in the door or you pick up the phone and you call, you know you're going to be greeted with someone that is happy to hear you on the other end of the line.
And passionate about the brand.
Yeah.
That's one thing for sure. Everybody that works here is very passionate about what happens here. One thing we love to do when we have customers come in is show the history of our brand.
We've been so fortunate to take on Edencraft as a brand, and the story really is just incredible, and it's something that we're really proud of and want to share with the world.
Well, it lets people know the history behind our hull. The hull was designed and it won every offshore race for years on end. For rough offshore weather, like there's no better hull, and that's why it's called the formula, because it's a perfect formula underneath.
Alright, so now we're at Lamination, and this is quite literally where production begins. From a drum of resin and some fiberglass, it all starts here. And this is Tom, our production manager, and he's going to take us through what it takes to build an Edencraft.
Yeah, come through and we'll show you what it's all about. So this is basically where it all begins. There's 4 main stages to the build: the hull, the floor, the deck and the stringer system. This is our new 255 hull mould, just being prepped for lamination next week. Basically, we'll apply a wax to this and then start the gel coat process. In the booth, the boys are currently gel coating a 255 deck and putting the first skin coat on it.
So obviously they're the 4 main components that come out of lamination, Tom, but what I think makes our boats so incredibly special is the process in the way that we build them and the way that they're constructed. So can you give us a little insight into that?
So our build's all composite. There's no timber or any old school stringer systems anymore. We use a thermalite transom and some advanced composite materials in our build.
And essentially what that means for the customer is they can have some serious horsepower on the back of their boat, and we give our customers a 10-year structural warranty. So we're absolutely 110% confident that the boats are built like a brick shit house, really.
Yeah, these boats won't be coming back with rock, that's for sure.
So we're up in R&D now, and what is extremely special about us at Edencraft is that we literally do every part of the boat build. So right from the initial concept of design through to when the moulds get handed to production, we do it right here. It all starts in these offices before it goes off to Tom and the production team. Last November, we had our 5-axis CNC machine installed, and what has been incredible about this department being a part of Edencraft is the time in which we can innovate and how quickly we can get things into production. So a prime example of that is our 255 formula. We released the concept at Sanctuary Cove Boat Show 2023, and we launched the boat at Sanctuary Cove Boat Show 2024. So from concept to boat on the water being 12 months is just extraordinary. And then little micro things that have been huge benefits are we want to design a new seat box for that boat. So we mentioned that a couple of weeks ago to Kerb and Sean, and a process that would normally take probably around 3 to 4 months to get the concept right and get it into production is now taking us about 3 weeks. So now moving on to our joining shed here. So once all the parts are finished in lamination, they pass their QA, they get handed over here to our resident superstar, James. James is the production manager of the joining components of our boats.
We get all our parts simultaneously. We get our hull, deck and our floor. In this section, this is where they all come together. So the first process is all the underfloor preparation, which includes putting the fuel tanks in, foaming the stringers, foaming all the way around the stringers, and then we chop our floors in. We then weight them down, leave them for 24 hours, let the glass cure. We then remove the weights and we start dry fitting the deck to the hull.
And you mentioned with the foam filling, so essentially in layman's terms, that basically means that our boats are unsinkable, right?
Unsinkable. And then also another thing that a lot of people don't realise is just how sound deadening that foam is. When you're out on the water, it gets rid of all that thudding, especially when you're rocking around a bit, it's just perfect.
All right, so moving on to joining stage 2. Do you want to run us through what it takes to get the boats ready for fit out?
Certainly. So we get our 2 separate parts here. Once the floor's down, we've got our deck here, which we then start dry fitting to the hull. Once we make sure that the hull and the deck fully align and everything's fitted nicely, we start glassing everything. So everything in this boat is glassed, from the floor liner right through to all the shelves, all the knees. Everything's sealed off. The major bit of glass work we do is around the join from the hull to the deck.
Actually, that is a huge thing that people always bring up when I do the factory tours. They just can't believe how much work goes into that joining process.
Well, the benefits of us glassing everything just means that you know you have a safe boat. You have a boat that's built where there's no chance of water getting where it shouldn't. There is a lot of work to do with it, but the result of it just creates the product that we have, reliability, and always knowing that you'll be able to get home safe.
So now that everything is fully glassed, can you run us through what happens next?
Certainly. So once everything's fully glassed, we start the finishing side of it. So we start painting the boat. That's where we get the colours on the side. Then when that's fully done, we start detailing the boat. So that's where our quality assurance comes in. We're checking over the boats, any minor defects that need to be fixed before we send it to fit out. We hang our dive doors and we add all our cleats and stainless, stuff like that.
A lot of the boats in production at the moment are white, but one thing that a lot of people don't realise is the colour is the first thing that happens back over in lamination.
Yeah.
So a lot of people on factory tours actually think that we spray the colour on during the joining process, but it comes out how it's looking at the finished product.
It's pretty fascinating about a boat. They're built from the outside in.
All right, so now we're at the stage where the boat is just about to be handed over to fit out. And so far we've had about 700 hours go into the production of the boats. And just how many sign-offs and quality assurance measures have been taken to get to this point?
Well, we have about 100 or so sign-offs for every single compartment that goes into all of our boats. But within that, we also have about 15 to 20 major quality assurance checks. That includes things like the floor going in, the deck going down, and then the final finish on the gel coat. So before it even leaves this shed, it then gets another quality assurance from our fit-out manager, Patrick, who then does his final check to make sure it's good to keep moving forward.
And that is also part of the reason that our boats are all built to AMSA standards.
Yeah. So our sign-offs include making sure that every part is in the correct spot, because a 10 mil difference in a starting point at an anchor well might mean that the pockets down the line don't line up by 50 mil. So everything flows on when you're boat building. So it's things like that, the sign-offs make sure that the product is perfect from the start so that it's perfect all the way through.
Yeah. And that essentially means that our customers have peace of mind that they have got the perfect boat and that it's going to last for generations and generations. Moving on from joining, we're into our final stage of production here. So we're in the fit-out shed. This is fit-out manager Paddy, and Paddy also happens to be my husband. So Paddy, do you want to run us through what happens in the fit-out shed?
Yeah, no worries. So welcome to Fit Out. We'll basically do anything we can to build our customer's dream boat. So if they have an idea, they can come to us and we can sit down, work it out, come back to them with a few different ideas as well and kind of work through it all together and yeah, just make sure that they get exactly what they want.
So when the boat is in this stage, how often are we in communication with the customer?
I'd say at least once a week, but it's basically up to the customer. They welcome through as much as they want. You know, we have guys coming through here just about every weekend sometimes, but we'll always communicate with photos, all the major decisions like cutting out the dashes, all that's sent to the customer with photos before anything major's done.
Moving on to the final stage of fit out. So we're probably at about 950 production hours. What does the last 50 hours entail?
So when it's all ready to go, the boat will be taken down to the water.
Beautiful. And what actually happens on the water test? So we're testing out the engines, prop testing, checking the pumps.
Yeah, probably the first thing we do is just see how the boat performs. So we let it go at all different rev ranges, speeds, turn tests. Harry loves turning them on a dime and just make sure it's performing exactly how it should. And we'll do as many sea trials as it takes just to get everything 100% spot on. Usually only takes one or two, and then we're right to start the final detail.
So the last stage is the customer handover, which is my personal favourite part. I love it. I love seeing the customers' faces when they come and pick up their dream boat. It's taken, over 1,000 hours to get to that point, which is months and months. And often for them, they've been dreaming of it for years and years before that.
Yeah, we keep it pretty personal. So we invite the customer down and all their family, whoever wants to come really. And another thing we love doing is taking them on the water on their handover day. Running them through that boat, showing them where everything is, how everything works, just making sure they know exactly what they need to know about their Edencraft.
Yeah, beautiful. And then post that, all of our customers, obviously they have your direct number, my direct number and Harry's. So if there's ever any little concerns, they're welcome to call you or any of us just to make sure that they're getting used to using their boat.
Yeah, that's probably just about the most important thing I reckon, is how we deal with our customers after the boat leaves the factory.
Now that we've been through the factory and we know just how many hours it takes to build an Edencraft, we're now moving on to the hours spent with your Edencraft. So when our customers get their boats, it's just the beginning of their journey, and we have so many special events across the whole of Australia where we get to spend time together. And what we hear back from our customers is that truly is the most special part of owning an Edencraft. It's the hours spent with other Edencraft owners or out on the water with their family, and those events just make it so special.